Story 1. My daughter, I want to call her when she is older on her deathbed to tell her not to be afraid and that everything will be okay, so she can be with her mom one last time. Story 2. I would pass because if I had 10 minutes to talk to her again, I would be gone by morning since I cannot grieve her again. Story 3. My grandma from 20 years ago, before her mind started slipping and before she died. I would tell her how much I loved her and how truly I appreciated my childhood for all she did for me, ensuring she knew I enjoyed every second. Story 4. Can I call myself in the past to try to get myself to make changes that would make my present better? Story 5. My local Chinese food restaurant struggles to keep me on the phone long enough to finish my order. The extra time on the call would relieve the stress of trying to order an egg roll along with the meal. Story 6. My mom passed 3 months ago. I have intense dreams of her, and I would love to know what she wants to tell me. I would also like to tell her that she was my guiding star. I miss you, Mama. Story 7. My grandmother. I would do just about anything to hear her laugh at the silly things my child is doing, share a sharp remark about my mother, and end the call with, "Well, all right, kiddo, I have to go. Love you. Okay?" Just like every time before. Story 8. The President of the United States in 2100 can provide valuable insights into political and economic matters, which may help you determine what to invest in. Story 9. I was going to answer, but I started reading the comments instead. I would donate my time to everyone here missing their dad or another relative. I admire your loving families. Story 10. I would say my mom. She passed away in 2018. That being said, part of me knows it will always be my dad that I want to talk to the most. Luckily, he is still around. I know I will miss him terribly in the future. He is my rock, best friend, and the person I love the most on this planet. Story 11. I would choose my mom. I would use those 10 minutes to tell her it is okay to let go, that we understand she is in pain, and that we will be all right. I just want her to have peace. Story 12. My Nona. There is so much I wish I had said to her or learned from her. I miss her dearly. Her cooking was magical, and there is a particular soup that I would love to know how she made. Whenever she was making it, I would sit at the kitchen counter and talk to her, not paying attention to what she was doing. I was too engrossed in our conversation. I regret not walking over and making it with her. Story 13. My dad. When he passed in February, it was so bitter and hurtful to have such a tragic event occur, and I couldn't call or run to him to get through it. My dad. I would take a 2-second phone call just to say a proper goodbye. Story 14. My grandfather passed away when I was 8, and I know he would be proud of what my cousins and I have become. I would give anything for him to have a conversation with my child. He would be delighted. Who cut the onions? Story 15. Definitely, my dad and I would record his voice. I have voicemails from him, but I would love to have a video of us chatting back and forth. He died suddenly, and as the old saying goes, I thought I had more time. Story 16. Dad. I still remember his voice a whole decade later, even if I feel it is just my imagination filling the void. Story 17. My dad's biological father is unknown, and I want to learn the basics of our family tree. Story 18. I left the love of my life to try to return to my addicted ex-husband so we could raise our child together. It did not work. I wasted a lot of time and lost a good man who would have been a much more stable father in the end. If I could, I would talk to him and tell him I am sorry, that I love him and that I want to be with him. I pushed him away after the breakup, and I regret it all. I miss him so much. It grows every day. Story 19. My grandma passed away while I was pregnant with my daughter, the only child I could have due to ovarian cancer. Her death and the stress from it sent me into premature labor, resulting in my daughter being born at 34.5 weeks. I would have given anything for my daughter to have met her. 14 years later, it still brings me to tears just thinking about it. Story 20. My mom. It has been 10 months since she passed, and I just want to say goodbye properly and tell her I love her one last time. Story 21. Definitely my dad, just to update him on how my siblings and I are doing in life, tell him about his grandchildren that he has never met, and share some jokes. Story 22. Dad for sure. He has been gone since the mid-1990s when I was in my 20s. He was amazing and my hero from my earliest memories. Kind, quirky, fun, and funny with a huge laugh and smile. I can honestly say I miss him every day. Story 23. My childhood friend was murdered just before we finished undergraduate studies. He was funny, creative, loyal, and very smart. I am naming my son after him. Story 24. I would love to talk to my husband again, just so he knows I am okay. I can live without his opinion about my upcoming move, as he would not be a fan. Story 25. My maternal grandmother lived with us in an in-law apartment. Every night, I would go down to her place to watch Jeopardy and read the dictionary, encyclopedias, atlases, or anything I could get my hands on. It was a loud house, and I played my role in that. However, her place was the one spot where I could be a quiet nerd, and she totally encouraged it. I had plenty of friends growing up, and my parents did a great job, but she was the only one who recognized and supported that side of me. She passed away when I was 9, and I would love 10 minutes to thank her and talk with her as an adult. Story 26. No question, my mom. She died, but I would have the same answer if she were alive. Also, she would definitely find a way to make it more than 10 minutes. It takes us that long to hang up. Story 27. My one love. Long story short, I dated a girl in high school and we got really close. We got engaged 2 years later, but then I moved states to be closer to my sister, and with the long distance, our relationship fell apart. She struggled with poor mental health and thought I was cheating, which I wasn't. One night, she called me at 10 p.m. Annoyed, I answered, "Stop calling me," and hung up. She took her life 5 minutes later. I have always wished I could have had 5 minutes to talk to her, to explain everything. My mistreatment, my wrongs. I wanted to give her the 5 minutes she deserved, or rather a whole lifetime. I wanted to trade spots. Story 28. My sister passed away in December. I was unkind to her, and I just want to apologize and know that she is okay. Story 29. A safe answer would be my brother, who was killed in a car accident at the age of 10. A risky answer would be my biological father, about whom I know nothing. It's surprising how many different directions that call could take. Story 30. My mother died in 1978 at the age of 33 from cancer. I was 10 years old. Watching her suffer in pain traumatized me in a way that I have yet to fully overcome. Story 31. My mother was taken from us when I was in my late 20s, living abroad due to cancer. She was ill, and I showed her the engagement ring I bought for my now wife. Now I have a house and 2 beautiful boys, and I became a manager. I feel like she dedicated so much of her life to her children, and it is painful that she passed before she could see the fruits of her labor as a wonderful mother. Story 32. I feel like I would like to choose my dad. I would have loved for him to know his grandkids and to see what I have become. I don't choose my dad because 10 minutes wouldn't be enough. It would be so hard to say goodbye again. Maybe I will give someone else my 10 minutes. Who wants them? Just don't tell me I had 10 minutes. Take them and never mention it. Story 33. John F. Kennedy. I would like to know if he knows who ordered his execution and if he would have expanded the Vietnam War if he had lived. Story 34. My child. I am supposed to talk to him daily, but his mother often finds excuses for weeks at a time, claiming they are too busy to answer. Story 35. My grandfather graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1949 and passed away before I joined as a member of the class of 2028. His influence guided me on this path, whether or not he intended to, and I would love to hear what he would tell me about his experiences during that time. Story 36. My father's father passed away when I was very young. I have a few memories of him. However, I did not truly know him. It would be nice to speak with him, even if only briefly. Story 37. My best friend was killed in a car accident at the age of 24. I am glad he got to meet my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. I talk to him sometimes and wonder if he would be proud of me. Story 38. I would choose my grandfather, but he tends to end the conversation after 2 minutes to avoid long-distance charges. I suppose I would also want my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren to find out if Donald Trump is still president. Story 39. David Lynch, I need insight into Season 3 of Twin Peaks. The ending felt like a drug-induced fever dream. I probably won't get it, but I would still love to hear him share any of his thoughts on anything. Story 40. Satoshi, I would ask him to create a wallet for me, give me some Bitcoin, and send me the key. I would also refrain from inquiring about his identity to keep that secret alive. Story 41. I couldn't choose just one when it comes to talking to my maternal grandparents. I would like to do a one-way video call so they can meet my children. Story 42. I want to have a full conversation with William Randolph Hearst. He was responsible for many negative events that still impact us today, and I want to understand his perspective. Story 43. My dad committed suicide almost 2 years ago. I want to tell him that he has more grandkids that he never got to meet, and more are on the way. Story 44. My aunt passed away when I was a child, and even decades later, I miss her terribly. I would share updates about my children and what I have been doing. Story 45. My mom. It's only been 6 years, but I don't remember what her voice sounded like anymore. I miss her every day. Story 46. I am calling my father. He died when I was 13 months old. I want to hear his voice, what he sounds like, the inflection in his words, the way he laughs, and the way he gives advice. Story 47. My grandmother passed away when I was 13. I want to know if she had similar feelings about certain family members as I do now as an adult. Story 48. My real mom. I embraced my indigenous identity and what that means to me now. The best parts of my identity came from her. Ultimately, I miss her and wish she could be with me as things hopefully change. Rest in peace, Kim. Story 49. My dad. I just want to hear him say anything again to me, even if it's what, like he used to when we would interrupt his Star Trek episodes. Story 50. My girlfriend's dad. I plan to marry her, and most of her family has mentioned that I am similar to him. I would love the chance to meet him. Story 51. Beyond a doubt, Jesus Christ. Either he is the Son of God or he is the fraudulent figure at the center of the world's most popular religion. I would love to talk to him about that. Story 52. My grandmother had a stroke when I was young. As a result, I never really got to know her because of her condition afterward. Story 53. My cousin passed away, and I just want to talk to her one last time. We never had a final conversation. Story 54. If they are also healthy and of sound mind, my dad. If they have the same mental state they did when they passed away, my grandma. Story 55. No one, I suppose. I can talk as much as I want right now to the only 2 people in the world who have ever cared about me. Story 56. My Nana, my mom's mother, passed away from breast cancer when I was about 4 years old, so I don't remember much. However, from what I recall, she spoiled me completely. She allowed me to have all the sugar I wanted, bought me toys, and babysat me when my parents needed to run errands. It would be nice to catch up with her now that I am 14 years older. Story 57. My mother had dementia, and for the last year of her life, she couldn't remember who I was. Because of this, we never had a final goodbye. Story 58. My sister passed away in January, and I would give almost anything to hear her voice on the other end of the line one more time. Story 59. Can it be my childhood cat? She was the only good thing in my childhood. I'd just like her to know I miss her. Maybe she would purr. I hope she forgives me for not being there. Story 60. Queen Elizabeth I died in 1603, so I suppose I should first explain what a phone is. On second thought, I would choose my grandma. Story 61. Does the phone translate languages? Does it matter if the person does not understand the concept of a phone? Story 62. My grandfather, Seymour Waldo, passed away a couple of days after my second birthday in 1964. He was a caisson driver with the 119th Field Artillery Regiment during World War I. Story 63. My mother. I was told she asked for me just before she died, and my dad had just left the hospital. When he got home, The answering machine informed him to return. He only lives 10 minutes from the research hospital. Story 64. My ex, I can call him a difficult person, and then hang up on him. 10-minute calls can be condensed into a 10-second call. That's all I need. Story 65. If it were only the past, I would call my dad. If it were the future, of course I would call myself to get stock advice. Story 66. I want to call my friend, who is in e-commerce. He shared it with me 5 to 6 years ago, but I replied to him that I would just focus on my work. Story 67. Last week, I said, "Here, write down these winning lottery numbers. There is no one deceased I want to speak with, since I have made my peace with their passing." Story 68. Robin from the YouTube channel MK helped me realize that my struggles were due to autism. I was officially diagnosed a few years ago. He has been open about his own challenges on the channel, and his honesty has made a significant impact on me. I don't have a direct way of expressing my gratitude to him. Story 69. Not my dad. He's 93 and still active. I want to know how the global power distribution system would work and also the frequency of the destructive vibrations. Story 70. Sun Tzu, for sure. I want to understand where he derived his insights and what influenced the statements he made. It's so ancient that I need more information than what is currently available. Story 71. I'm making a note to expect a phone call from my 1-year past self in a year, and I'm calling my future self for some winning lottery numbers and stock tips. As someone once said, who's up for a little space-time meddling? Story 72. All of these thoughtful answers about loved ones and celebrities prompt me to choose myself 5 years from now. I will either learn that I have passed away or receive some actionable information that will provide solutions. Story 73. A person in 2050 might be asked what stock to invest in and at what time. Then, I would ask them how the world is doing given the current state of affairs. Story 74. Someone from ESPN from 1 or 2 years in the future who can tell me all the major upsets and the exact scores. I'm going to Vegas. Story 75. Donald Trump's dad. Tell him I'll give him $50 to pull out. Make the whole world smarter, happier, and safer with one small offer. Story 76. I lost my dad when I was 21. There are many things I would like to say. I still send him messages on Facebook every couple of years to update him on my life, even though he will never read them. Story 77. Call your mother before she has children to say, don't have children. You and your husband unknowingly carry the cystic fibrosis gene. Story 78. Myself, 10 years in the future. Tell him he has 8 minutes to provide the lottery winnings for every state and country, World Series winners, boxing champions, and Super Bowl winners. I will use the password Metatron to verify authenticity. The last 2 minutes will discuss the release of new role-playing games and whether Destiny 3, Grand Theft Auto 6, and Breath of Fire have launched. Story 79. My mom died 20 years ago when I was 17. I would do anything to see or talk to her again. I miss her so much. Story 80. Not even in a religious way, but Jesus, I just want to see what was really happening and also watch water turn into wine. The best party trick ever. Story 81. I will call myself next week and ask for the numbers for Friday's lottery draw. My first thought was of my mom, who passed almost a decade ago. But 10 minutes isn't enough time to even scratch the surface of all the things I would want to discuss with her. It would be 10 minutes of me sobbing so hard that I would probably feel sick. Story 82. My mom and I had a significant age difference. I was in my late 20s and she was 55. She barely knew my firstborn and not my second child. There are many things I would like to say to her, but mainly I long to hear her voice say my name again. I'm crying now. It has been over 20 years, and it still hurts deeply at times. She was the one person who always had my support, and I truly believe I would not be here without her. Story 83. My mom lived across the country, and I could not get to her in time. She became very sick early in the morning and was admitted to the hospital. 14 hours later, she was gone. I found out while on my way to the airport. I never got to talk to her. Even though we got on each other's nerves, we were best friends. Story 84. Jesus, ask him when he is coming back. Talk to him and ask if the life you are living is pleasing to him. Story 85. If I had the chance to speak to anyone one last time, it would be my dad. He passed away when I was a 12-year-old boy, long before I could truly understand the meaning of loss or how deeply it would stay with me. There is so much I never got to say and so many questions I never got to ask. I would tell him everything. The highs, the lows, the things I wish he could have seen, the person I have become, and the person I am still trying to be. But more than anything, I just want to hear his voice again. It has been so long that I can't remember what it sounded like, and forgetting that is one of the hardest things I have ever had to live with. Story 86. My father passed away in October 2019, and I have so much I want to share with him. We had a tumultuous relationship for many years, but we were close for a good while before he died. He had been battling liver cancer for 2 years and woke up one morning vomiting blood. On our way to the hospital, he told me he loved me and thanked me for always being there. We both knew it was likely the end, but I did not want to say it out loud. I would tell him I am sorry I did not give him a proper goodbye before they intubated him, just in case. Story 87. My dad in the past. I want to hear him say I love you again and ask many questions about his life. He has Alzheimer's and I haven't heard his voice in 3 years. Story 88. I cannot say that I know, so I am choosing a week from now to ask about the lottery numbers, not to become wealthy, but to have enough money to retire. Story 89. My late friend, who I lost to suicide, is someone I feel I haven't done enough for. Maybe he would still be here if I had been more present for him, though I know it's naive to think that. I often wonder why he had to go. Story 90. I would like to say my dad. However, I think it would be better for my current family to call me and get winning lottery numbers. Sadly, that is just the world we live in. Story 91. My grandma. I would ask what she is experiencing since she has passed. Then we would know about what happens after death, though people might think I am crazy. I would also tell her that I wish I had more time with her. Story 92. My mom. I didn't have any negative last words with her, and we didn't have the closest relationship. It would be nice to say hi again and update her on everything that has happened in the past year since her passing. I got a cute new car and I got married. I think she would be happy for me. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.